Welcome back, guys. Here is your Friday night episode of GME. Look at how GME has moved in the past 5 days and especially today. Today GME is in the green. This is fantastic. If we can get a percentage on how much it is up in the past day, we can see that we have risen by about 4%. It isn't the largest gain that we have been seeing, but it is significant. This could be what we need to send GME back to the moon. Well, of course, this is all just my opinion coming up in this video, but we are looking at some of the facts that you may want to know regarding this stock. So if this may sound like a good opinion-based video, do make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel, as like I said, we talk about all different kinds of stocks every single day. At the moment, we make like 8 videos every single day, so it would be appreciated if you could support the cause. Of course, it is completely free to press the channel subscription button, but if you did want to support us financially, you can do that by pressing the join button. But yeah, with that being mentioned, let us jump into this video. First, looking on the charts at Google of how the stock has been moving. Well, if we do have a quick look on the 1-day chart, we can see that the stock is up. That is good. If we look at how the stock has actually been moving to the upside, we can see that basically at 9:30 we did plummet a little bit further down. We started off the day at a price of $196 roughly, and then we hit lows of the day down here at $188. So of course not the largest drop that we have been seeing, but it is a drop. Now from there we actually did fall a little bit lower, hitting absolute lows down here at about 10.35. This hit a price of about 187, but since there the stock price has been rallying slowly but surely ever since up. So we can see this big increase here. This was at about 10.40, and this brought us up to highs of around 193. From there we did sell off a bit more, which is not too bad because it did pull itself back up, and that is when we saw the real growth for the day. So in the day we saw the stock price go from lows of 187 all the way up to this high point here of 223, and that is quite a large amount. Let's face it, guys, if you were to have been day trading this stock, for example, just for an example, if you'd have bought this one at the lows, perhaps you'd have bought 2 shares and held it all the way up until the highs, you would have obviously made quite a lot of money in just a single day. So of course, buying in at the lows and selling up to the highs, if you'd have done that, you'd have made $36 per share, and if you'd have bought 2 shares, obviously you'd have made over $60, for example. But of course, a lot of people with this stock are not day trading it. They are looking for this one for long-term gains. But I think a lot of people today did see this as an opportunity to jump ship, because I think a lot of people are scared of this stock. So I think that is why we did see quite a bit of sell-off action from this point midday, as people were perhaps day trading and taking profits. And of course, a lot more people were probably trying to get out of this one from fear, as the last few days have been red, and I think a lot of people think that this one may be dying off. Well, guys, I'm giving you all of my opinions based on that coming up in just a moment. So first things first, we are going to focus off on how this one has been moving over the past month. I think this is the most important thing, because it does show us just how much the stock has moved to the upside. We are up very, very, very significantly, and that is something that we should all remember and respect. So the share price is still up, and again, if you'd have bought this one at the lows of the month, hey, even if you'd have bought this one mid-month on about the 4th, let's say, you would have still been up by a large amount right now. So of course, this stock is not necessarily dead, and even looking on the charts, we can see just a relation in price of the sell-off and of course of the gain. So of course the gain is still rather large in comparison to the sell-off, and basically it does look quite flat on the charts in comparison to that large gain that we have been seeing. And I think this is a good thing, honestly. Look at this one on the 1-day charts. We can see when we go over to the candlesticks that basically the share price has kind of been selling down in this sell-off, in this sell-off momentum. So of course we saw a big sell-off on this day here. It did continue for the last few days, but of course yesterday and today we have seen this action become increasingly less. Now again, today on the wicks of the candles, we can see that the wick to the upside is significantly higher than that to the down, which is good. It could be an indication of the share price pulling itself back up, and of course we did finish off today in the green, so the candlestick is green for today. But that is not the main focus of this candlestick chart. What I really want to focus on in this candlestick chart is the 1-week chart. I know that might sound a bit perplexing to a lot of people, but I do have a good reason for that. And it is something that a subscriber commented in a previous video, and it is something that I actually do usually talk about, but this becomes a bit more apparent when we look at this one on the 1-week chart. and the word is volume. Traded volume. Of course, volume traded is pretty self-explanatory. It allows us to see how many shares are traded per day, perhaps. In this example, per week. I think the per week chart is the most revealing for this one because we just can see the amount of motion around this stock in the past week, for example. So basically, looking at this stock in the past few weeks, if it will allow us, we can see that volume has of course been stepping up, leading up until this big increase. Basically, prior to this rocket in price, traded volume per day was around 22 million, around 38 million at these highs here. But of course, once we started to rocket, it went up to about 300 million, then 362 million, peaking up here at highs that we saw of over 558 million in volume. Now, the previous week after that did see a volume of over 300 million, so a big increase again, and then we started to go down in volume to about 116. And of course, what we have been taught about this stock in the past few weeks is that there is a strong community behind it. And when the stock starts selling off, yes, a lot of people do get scared and jump out, but there is also a lot of people who do carry on holding the stock. And again, this is becoming apparent when we hit these lows down here, as volume did flatten out, as a lot of people were actually still trading, or at least holding this stock. Now, of course, because of that, we saw this rally up again, and again, today we are seeing another red day. So on this second rally, we can see that volume was pretty steep. Volume was hitting above 100 million per day. We hit 227, per week. We hit over 200 million over here. And of course, this week we have seen volume of over 109 million. So that is a significant step down from last week, and I think that is important to note. I think it does indicate to a lot of people still holding this share. Now, if we do have a quick look at volume in the past few days, we can see that volume, of course, was high back in this period here, around 50 million per day, or at least around that point there. Now, we can see down here, volume has kind of been stepping up once more, but more recently, volume has been actually falling. So here we saw volume of around 16 million on this day, 22 million today, and of course, pretty low figures for the last few days, which is good in my opinion. I think this does still give us a hope, as it shows that a lot of people are potentially still holding this stock, as volume is basically an indication of what people are doing with their shares. And in my eyes, not much volume shows that a lot of people are probably not doing anything at all with their shares. And that is not necessarily a bad thing. But I think subsequently, the next week for the stock does have the opportunity to both make it and break it in price, depending on what happens. That strong volume and the strong community behind it could send the share price flying even further into the sky. I think that is an absolute possibility, and of course I would absolutely love to see that happen. But subsequently, if this volume was to step up to the downside, if people do start to sell off more and more, we could also see the share price continue to plummet and reach new lows. Ultimately though, we do want to see this one go to the upside, and today's candle being in the green, in my eyes at least, is a very promising sign. Do tell me what you think down in the comments though. I thought I'd just give you another quick update, and we will be back tomorrow, hopefully, to bring you more information on this stock. Thank you, I'll see you then, goodbye.